Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bourbon Bites, whiskey reviews with a gaming twist. I'm Clifton, and tonight we have Sagamore Spirit Rye Whiskey. I always want to forget the spirit part for some reason. So Sagamore Spirit is the name of the brand. It is a Maryland-Style Rye. I actually had the pleasure of doing a tasting with their master distiller last week. It was like a Zoom tasting with my local group. I still got a good bit of the samples I saved because I thought this would be a really fun stream. I know Sagamore has a pretty good reputation here in the whiskey and rye community, especially people in the area. Now, this is, like I said, a Maryland style, but Sagamore gets a lot of love. So I thought it'd be really fun to have here on a stream with us here tonight. First of all, welcome. I see some new faces in the chat, some faces that I remember from long ago. Speaking of which, Monica Willits, so good to see you here, Monica. Monica has been a friend of mine for years now, so she has been super busy, but so glad that she's able to make it tonight. And she's also going to make it to tonight's hangout, which, thanks to viewer and patron of the show, Patrick Starkey, tonight's hangout is actually open to everyone. So if you want to get a little taste of what our after party hangouts are like, you can go to www.bourbonbites.com. It will take you to our Discord server. That's where we do the hangout. It's in the Sip and Lounge room. That will be immediately following this stream. So so if you haven't joined the Discord, we're having a lot of fun over there. We've got like 60 members now, but we talk all things whiskey, all things video games. It's just a really good community, and it gives me a chance to hang out with you guys outside of these weekly streams. First of all, I want to give some shout outs to everyone in the chat. Like I mentioned, Monica is here. So good to see you. We got Brandon, of course. I'm actually not going to be streaming on Saturday because Brandon's having a little mini get together at his house. Very, very small group. I think it's like 4 of us. So I'm going to be at Brandon's house this Saturday. So I will not be live. But I do have a very special announcement coming probably on Saturday. So patrons already got a little sneak peek of it today. Speaking of Patreon, if you're not yet a patron of the show, we just hit 28 patrons. We are 2 away from 30 patrons tonight. So if we hit 30, I think I got to do something a little special. What do you guys think? I have some vintage Elijah Craig barrel proof here that I may open up if we hit 30 patrons tonight. So again, you can be a patron for as little as $2 a month. However, $5 gets you access to our monthly hangout, and $10 gets you access to our weekly after party hangout following these streams. Like I said, this week is open to the public, but normally it's for the $15 or the $10 patrons and up. So, but I appreciate everyone's support here. Just every little bit really does help us out here. So, other shout outs. Sorry, I got a little distracted there. Perry from This Is My Bourbon podcast. If you missed his stream earlier, he went live. He goes live 2 hours before me. God, Thursday nights are busy. He goes live 2 hours before me. The Rock Gut Review goes live 1 hour before me. So we have a full lineup for you here on a Thursday night. So good to have you joining us. Sugar Kitty, good to see you. JJ, good to see you again. Scary Peeper, of course, awesome viewer. Fred, also patron of the show. Good to see you, Fred. Donnie, the Linux Cat, the awesome mod and keeper of the peace here. Donnie is awesome. So good to see you, Donnie. Patrick Starkey, speaking of, not that I was going to say the devil, but that's a little harsh. Speaking of Patrick, what's up, Patrick? Andrew, good to see you again. Don Nishida, aloha. Brian Britticky, who graciously donated the sample of the vintage Elijah Craig barrel proof that we may open tonight. So keep an eye out on that. Emily Chambers, so good to see you, Emily. Thanks for stopping in. Stanley Wagner Jr., of course, another patron of the show. So good to see you guys here on this wonderful Thursday night. I was trying to think like what I've been drinking. I just drank a Bud Light seltzer. Yeah, classy, right? Well, I saw on the Rock Gut Review stream, they were doing a cocktail using cranberry juice, and I'm like, you know what? I really want some cranberry juice, but I didn't have any, so I was like, I got a cranberry Bud Light seltzer. That's close enough, right? But that's what I've been pre-gaming with. What have you guys been drinking tonight? Hopefully you've been watching us for 2 hours. This is going on hour 3. I promise you we're gonna have a lot of fun here tonight because I'm very, very impressed by Sagamore. I'd heard about it for the longest time, but I'd never really dove into it. So let's get into it. So Monica says that ECBP is amazing. Like, yeah, this is batch 11 from 2016. It's a little overblown, but yeah. So if we hit 30 patrons tonight, I will be opening this and having a pour. So thank you, Brian, and thank you guys for hanging with me tonight. So if you don't know about Sagamore, I keep calling them just Sagamore Spirit. They are a relatively new distillery. They started in 2016, I believe, based on the tasting info they gave us. But they are honoring the tradition of Maryland-Style Rye. So Maryland is actually one of the most, or it was one of the most prominent rye distilleries out there. Dates back to pre-prohibition. I think one of the most common Maryland-style ryes, as it's known, would probably be Pikesville. Now, Pikesville's Heaven Hill. It's a Kentucky rye. However, it pays tribute to the tradition of Maryland rye. Pikesville Distillery was a distillery in Maryland in the early Prohibition days. So that's what Sagamore is doing. Yes, they're a new distillery. They started out doing some sourcing. They did source their rye originally. However, they are making all their own stuff now. So everything we're trying tonight is their own distillate. So I'm very, very excited to get into that here tonight. So what are you guys drinking? Let's see. Two Dudes and a Brew is sipping on Optical Illusion IPA. And Justin is the biggest IPA fan. I just can't get into them. I tried them. I tried a couple, and a couple were okay, but he got like a kit from, it wasn't Costco, was it? No, he got like an IPA Stone Brewery sampler kit. So Stone Brewery is, I guess, like a craft. That shows how much I know about beer. It's a craft brewery. They have like a 12 days, like an advent calendar kind of thing. So he's been going through those like every day. Some of them are up my alley. Some of them are like, pass. So yeah, you do you. What is up? Just coming up on the chat. Brian Bernanke is drinking some Beam Distiller's Cup. Brian Bernanke is currently gambling in Las Vegas. So jealous. Wish I was there. I've been trying to tell Justin, like, you got to get a weekend off before Christmas so we can go to Vegas. But he's like, no. Andrew is sipping on some Knob Creek small batch. Great choice. Always a fan of Knob Creek here. Oh, wow. Is it Aquavite? Aquavite is how you pronounce his name, right? I know who he is, but I've never said it out loud. So I think it's Aquavite or Aquavite. Monica grabbed some Sagamore Barrel Select from New Jersey. Well, that's great, Monica. I actually have a Sagamore Barrel Select here, too, from a store called High Times Wine Cellar here in Southern California. So we're going to be getting to that. Trev Wilson, the man, the myth, the legend. Check out Trev's channel over here on YouTube. Y'all know Trev. He's in basically everyone's chat. However, Trev Wilson has his own awesome channel. He was doing an awesome stream last night. He was on with Mash and Drum. He also did an after party stream on his channel. I think it's got a little crazy, but we all love you, Trev. It's such a great time hanging out with you last night, and so good to see you here tonight. David Goldman, I don't think I recognize your name. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, sorry, I forgot. But so good to see you. Sipping on Elijah Keg Barrel Proof B520. As y'all know, that was my favorite of 2020. Hoping to find some C920 out in the wild tomorrow. C920 is very, very good. I think the B batch, though, to me, B batch was my favorite of this year. Yeah, so I think that's everyone's shout out. So good to see you guys. So let's go ahead and get started with the first Sagamore. I was originally going to start with Pikesville just because I was going to like do that as an introduction to Maryland Rye. However, Pikesville is 110 proof. The regular Sagamore is only, what is it? It's 41. Oops, sorry, that was loud. It's 41.5% ABV, and this is their signature rye. Trev says definitely got lit. Yes, it was definitely, but it was a great time. So also I do want to say, if you are new here and you've never seen my channel before, hi, I'm Clifton, sometimes known as Cliffy if I get a little drunk. I do video game streams on Saturdays usually, but I also kind of mix in a bit of the video games and the whiskey reviews. So if you are new and you'd like to subscribe, I would absolutely love if you could hit that subscribe button right down there. And of course, if you hit the bell icon, you get notified every time I go live. So you can be one of the first people to get a shout out, because that's something that you really care about. But also, of course, do not forget to hit the like button, because that really helps the YouTube algorithm in finding my channel. So with that being said, let's get on to some whiskey, shall we? Monica, and Monica says always Cliffy to me. Monica, I forget, you were the one that started the Cliffy thing. You were the first one to call, okay, you weren't the first one to call me Cliffy. I used to have an online friend that would call me Cliffy, but you were the second person in my life to call me Cliffy. Therefore, you are you reign supreme. You are the inspiration behind Cliffy, we'll say. So cheers, Monica. So good to have you with us here tonight. Yes, as Brandon says, don't forget to smash that like button. And yeah, so Donnie says, yeah, man, I love you guys. Y'all are awesome. Just like promoting me, it means a lot. But yeah, so yeah, would appreciate all the subscriptions and all the likes, because honestly, we are almost at 2,500 subscribers. I will say we're really close to a bunch of milestones, you guys. So we just passed the $200 Patreon level. So we are a bit past that. We're actually at like 221 now, which is awesome. I'm so excited. I think that opens us up to a lot more whiskeys that I normally wouldn't be buying this time of year, and it's all thanks to you guys. Just keeping an eye on Patreon. Yeah, so we are currently at 28 patrons. Man, that's really bright. We are at 28 patrons. So if we get to 30, I will drink the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Like I said, for as little as $2 a month, you can become a supporter of the show. So with that, let's move on to Sagamore. Now this is, let me pull up I have a little picture of it here. Yes. So this is Sagamore Spirit Rye. Now this is the straight whiskey. Like I said, it is 41.5% ABV. If I can find where I put the bottle. Oh, there it is. Yeah, 41.5. And this is just their signature release. So I figured that's a great place to start. So I was really, really impressed by their presentation we had with their master distiller. That was really cool. So we have a little bit of it here. Like I said, I only have these little samples. I think they're 1 ounce samples, and I drank half an ounce during the stream, and I'm drinking half an ounce now. So save a little bit more. Maybe if we didn't want to go back to it, I have a little bit more. So this is the first rye of the night for me. So, okay. I don't know if it's Sagamore. I don't know if it's Maryland style or what, but there's a very, very specific nose on this. And I get it across the board after doing the tasting. I thought maybe I was like, did something go wrong with this like sample? It's real. At first I got like vinegar, but I realized it's not vinegar. It's dill. And I've always heard the note of dill on a rye whiskey. To me, rye whiskey typically goes into the like minty, like spearmint kind of note, maybe like some grass. But to me, I always thought I understood what dill was, but it was not until I tried Sagamore Spirit that I realized, oh, that's the dill that people get on rye. So this is actually probably the most dill I've ever gotten on rye on the nose. Now, don't let that fool you. The palate's very, very different, but it's very dill forward on the nose. Monica says blueberry. And, you know, Monica, when you say blueberry, I do think of like those. I don't even think of like a fresh blueberry. I think of like a blueberry muffin. Like not even a fresh blueberry muffin. I think of one of those mini, you know, those like mini blueberry, those like prepackaged things. What are they called? They call like little muffins or something. I don't know. Those things. I do get a little bit of that. So maybe that's what we're seeing there. Hey, what is up, Ed from the Brat Gut Review? Ed just finished the stream. I had to pop out a bit early because I had to eat before the stream. It's always tough on Thursdays because like I want to watch Perry, I want to watch Ed, but I'm like, you know what? If I did the stream without eating, it would be a disaster. So I did miss it. Ed, did you end up hitting your goal and drinking your concoction? I don't want to spoil it. Did you end up drinking it? Let me know. Little bites. Thank you, Monica. Yes, that is what I get on that for sure. Yeah, but I get a little dill. It's very interesting. And I tried to do some research. I was like, you know, is this what we consider Maryland-style rye? I can't really find much about what Maryland-style rye was. You guys may know more than me. To me, I think it was more of like a high corn content, what we consider a barely legal rye, which would make a lot of sense because, I mean, as you guys know, Pikesville, which is the same mash bill as Rittenhouse, is a barely legal rye. And we call it that because it's closer to 51, 52% rye. Yes, it's technically a rye whiskey because it's over 50%, but it's still a lot of corn. So I think that maybe Maryland style. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be completely wrong with that. All right. Sorry if that's a little loud. This is like a glass vial here. Okay. So Ed says I did drink it as much as I could. Oh man, I gotta watch that replay. I was looking forward to it. Like I said, I had to dip out. But yeah, you guys go check out his stream. He drank. I would say it was chunky. It was chunky. So you guys go check that out. Monica says rye in general has dill notes. Well, that's what I'm saying. I love rye, but I never really got dill until I got this one. I'm like, whoa, it changed my mind of what I thought dill was on a rye whiskey. At least on the nose again. So let's go ahead and give it a taste though. It's really intriguing on the nose, but I think once I got to the palate, I was like, this is familiar territory. So cheers, you guys, and thank you guys for hanging out with me this Thursday evening. On the taste, it's not that like I said, it was like kind of vinegar on the nose. It goes into what I expect a rye. However, there's a certain sweetness there that I don't think I get on typical ryes. Y'all know I'm a rye fan. It goes into like a caramel sweetness. I wanted to say I saw something about it earlier. I was trying to see what the note I gave on it earlier. Yeah, so it's like I thought the most interesting thing on the palate of this was it went like orange peel to me, like more so than any rye I've ever gotten. Yes, it's got that mintiness, that spearmint that I expect from a rye, but it is like an orange peel, like very. And again, Monica said blueberry, so maybe we're getting the same kind of like bright fruit flavors. To me, it goes a little citrus, like an orange. Oh yeah, Monica says, "Love the way I put comments on the screens." Yeah, don't you like that? It's so cool. I always forget to do it, so I apologize for those I didn't feature earlier. It just involves me having to like stop and click it. So, oh, interesting. There's your random fact of the day. Sugar Kitty says spearmint and dill both have the same chemical in them, but in different concentrations. Well, the more you know. I just need a little animation that comes up. The more you know. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that fact. Fred says you're right. Maryland style is high corn. Sagamore has both high corn and high rye. Yes, that's actually the point I was about to make. So actually, I'm not going to take credit for that. It was the point that I forgot to make. So what Sagamore does is they have a blend of two different ryes. As Fred just said, they have a high corn mash bill. It's still a rye. It's still at least 51, 52% rye. But they also have a high rye mash bill. They told us the specifics of those. I did not take notes of that, so I do apologize for that. Let me just see if this article here has it. Yeah, so they have a 52% rye for the barely legal rye. The other one is almost entirely rye. So I'm guessing it's closer to the 95 rye that we're familiar with from other distilleries, MGP, which I love MGP rye. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, so now this is the signature one. Their basic rye whiskey is 4 to 5 years old. It's actually also like a 2-to-1 ratio. So it's 2-to-1 with the high rye mash bill is the more prominent one in this release, at least with the signature. Now, as we go through these, I'll tell you they change up which ones they feature prominently. So the signature uses the high rye mash bill more so than the low rye mash bill. Sugar Kitty is a chemist. Yeah. Oh, Swan, what is up, man? Good to see you here. Thanks for stopping in. You're late, but you're just in time because we're just now sipping on our first whiskey of the night. So cheers, Swan. Yeah, to me, this one, while it's very, very sweet, it gets a little bitterness. And it almost is like, I don't know if you're a weirdo like me, but have you ever like bit an orange peel and it's like that bitter note? To me, it's like a bitter orange peel on the palate. Now, it's not off-putting at all. It's just more like you actually put bitters into this whiskey, like like for a cocktail. I I like it. Now, to be fair, the price on this one is a little high. I will tell you guys, spoiler alert. I did rank this the lowest on when I did the flight with the Sagamore team. However, one of these bottles we'll be trying tonight, or one of these samples we'll be trying tonight, I bought a full bottle of. So if you stick around to the end of the stream, you will see which one I picked as my favorite and which one I ran out to the store and bought a whole bottle of. So get your guesses in. I'll tell you guys what we're drinking. So we got the signature, the Sagamore. I just told you guys it wasn't that one. So the signature one, we have a High Time single barrel select. We have the double oak, which I think we'll be moving to next. We have the cask strength. We have the Calvados finish. And we have the Manhattan finish. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these to get through tonight. If you have any guesses, take your bets in. I'm not rewarding you with anything, but if you want to get your bets in, let me know what you guys think I bought a bottle of. Yeah, so there is a sherry or port finish. I didn't have that as part of this tasting. I would love to try them. It's just I didn't have that available to me at the time. But I did buy one of these that we're tasting tonight. So also I do want to let you guys know, while we do have Patreon, we also have Super Chats. So if you want to support the channel that way, you don't feel like committed to doing, a monthly pledge, which I understand totally. You can always send a Super Chat. I appreciate your support wherever you give it. Just want to let you guys know that's an option. I forgot to mention it earlier when I was talking about Patreon. So, but overall, I just love all the support I can get. It's really, I mean, y'all have seen how crazy this channel has grown in the past, like 4 or 5 months, I would say. And the fact that we're almost at 2,500 subscribers, it's just, I got to do a celebration when we hit it. But yeah, this signature select, it's on second taste, going back to it after the tasting last week. It's not as bad as I thought it was. It's not bad at all. It's just kind of, it sets you up for something, but it doesn't really have much of a finish. It's very vanilla forward. It's got the vanilla orange peel. And the spearmint, of course. However, it's all right. It's fine. But don't give up hope, because some of these are really, really incredible. So with that, I think we're ready to move on to our second Sagamore. And that is, of course, let me get the little logo up here, the double oak. So this one is interesting. Oh, it's not interesting. I mean, you guys know what a double oak whiskey is. It's basically the same process as other ones. So what they do is they take there's not an age on this. However, they put a 4 to 5 year old spirit into new toasted oak stave barrel for an extra 18 months. So we're thinking this is about like what, almost 6 to 7 years old. But the most interesting thing to me, at least in my opinion, is this uses more of the low rye mash bill. So if you like that corn sweetness, you will like this one. And I'm so sorry, I just missed that we had a super chat come in. First of all, can you guys still see me? I just want to make sure that my internet's still working because I was having some internet trouble earlier. Just want to make sure you can. Okay, there's 16 people watching me, so I assume I'm live. I'm alive. Okay, there we go. My StreamYard chat's like frozen, so I hope you guys can still see me. Okay, cool. Thank you, Donnie. I'm gonna have to open up the YouTube chat because StreamYard froze. Oh no, it just caught up. Okay. So first of all, I do want to give a huge shout out to Morgan Doughton. I think that's your name. Pledge $2 on Patreon. Morgan, I don't know who you are in the chat, but I'm so glad to have you on board for the Patreon. Your support means so much. That means we are at 29 patrons. So if we get one more patron tonight, I'll be drinking some Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. So any level, as little as $2. You can check out the tiers on Patreon to see, what you're comfortable with. Like I said, $5 is the monthly hangout. $10 is every freaking week we do a live stream, we do a hangout. Oh, Scary Peeper is Morgan. Oh, Scary Peeper, thank you so much for becoming a patron. I so appreciate your support. I mean, you've been here for a while, but so glad to have you on board for the Patreon. So thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. Now that the chat's caught up, we have a super chat here from Brian Bernicke. Have to break the super chat ice. Brian, thank you so much for the support. You and Tammy have been here for me from the beginning. So I'm so glad to have you guys be patrons of the show and supporting me here on with super chat. So cheers, Brian. I don't have anything in my glass. Wait, let me pour something to cheers you with. Let me pour the double oak because it's about time to drink some more whiskey. How about that? All right, so we're gonna pour the double oak to cheers, Brian, and Stanley and Scary Peeper. This is a cheers to new patrons and support of the channel. So cheers, Brian and Morgan. So this one is where my curiosity got piqued. Like I said, the first one that I had was the regular Sagamore. It was okay. This one, though, I mean, y'all know I love a good toasted barrel. Y'all know Michter's Toasted Barrel Proof Rye, one of my favorite whiskeys ever. This is giving me some of those notes. And you know what? If I wouldn't have bought the Manhattan finished, I probably would have bought this one. So let me tell you why. So like I said, this one is closer to the 6 to 7 year old because it has that extra 18 months of finishing. The nose is similar to the standard one. I think it really amps up I don't want to say vegetal note. That's kind of off-putting. I promise it's not an off-putting. Someone on the hangout or on the tasting with the distillery said apricot. And I don't really recall what apricot tastes like, but I could see why people would say apricot. It's very vegetal. Definitely that dill note. But to me, it's way more savory. And I think that's that extra oaking, like the oak age that's done on it. Almost like a barbecue, like a sweet barbecue note, but still with that burnt marshmallow. I mean, that burnt marshmallow is one of my favorite notes on a whiskey. So I think it gets a lot better the more you nose it. And I really enjoy the nose on this, but the taste as well. So Fred made a comment. So this is, okay, the reason I could be wrong, because I asked this question on the stream and then someone in the chat answered that they're using their own stuff now. I can't say that with 100% confidence that they aren't blending in MGP. I do know they are distilling their own stuff. So Fred may have a good point. They may also be doing some blending with MGP too. However, they really, really sold it that they are distilling their own stuff. Like I said, they kind of dodged the question. I directly asked. I was like, oh, so I mean, I didn't ask it rudely. I was just like, hey, now that you guys, I know you guys used to source, now that you're doing your own stuff, are you guys casually blending it in, like, gradually? Or are you just like immediately switching? And the answer was, we're distilling our own stuff. So I don't know. Maybe they're one of those ones that don't really like talking about it. I don't know. But I got the impression that they were using only their own stuff. So I could be wrong, Fred. Like you said, they started distilling in 2017. Like I said, this being almost 6 years old, kind of puts into question the years. Maybe I mean, to be fair, they could have specifically been talking about the select, the standard Sagamore, because that one, like I said, is 3 to 4 years old, or 4 to 5 years old. So that would fit in that timeline roughly. So maybe that is questionable. That's just based on the information I had. I could be wrong. Either way, you don't want to judge the distillery based on, if they're sourcing, if they're not. Yes, it'd be nice if they were way more transparent about that. I do agree about that fact. Okay, Monica says they are definitely still using MGP for quantity more than anything. Yeah, it's kind of like tricky wording. Yeah, I mean, I do wish they would have been a little more honest when I asked that question instead of just divert to we're distilling our own stuff. So there is that. And again, y'all know I love MGP, right? Yeah, Fred just said, I'll wait for the, yeah, Fred said MGP rye is good nonetheless. So yeah, Monica knows her stuff. So Monica says they work with one guy at MGP and they make sure that they work together. They want to make sure they could transfer over and duplicate. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's very unique. I'm a lover of MGP rye. This is definitely unique, though. So they're definitely doing something too. I think whether they're blending their own stuff or have a custom mash bill, I don't know exactly, but it's definitely unique and different than MGP. So Monica says she thought I heard it was Bardstown. I don't know what they're doing. They may be doing Bardstown now. I just know they started out sourcing entirely from MGP. So I don't know what they're doing when they're doing this like blending crossover thing. That's what I tried to ask. I was very polite with my question. I was like, so what are you guys doing? So I don't know 100%, but either way, we're just reviewing the stuff. We don't know who's doing what. It's very, very good to me though. So yeah, the double oak, all that is sweet barbecue is definitely what I would get on it. But let's go and go to the taste. I already tasted it, but I want to go back to the tasting notes. That one, the oak is so much more prominent. I love what toasting a barrel and doing like an extra barreling does to a whiskey. That sweet marshmallow note is something I look for. And, I kind of shit on Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel because I had that expectation to have a little bit more of that marshmallow sweetness. I didn't really get that on Elijah Craig, and I was a little let down. However, I'm getting it on Sagamore. So Sagamore and Michter's, I mean, man, they're like on par with like the way that Toasted Barrel influences the palate. I love that quote, Monica. She says, I don't care who makes it. I don't raise my own cow, but I can grill a heck of a steak. Cheers to that, Monica. So I gave this a score out of 10 when I did the original tasting. I did say that I gave this a 6 out of 10. Now, that's a big step up from what I gave the original signature, standard Sagamore Spirit. I gave this a 6 out of 10. Tasting it again, I mean, that's close. That's like a 6.5, almost a 7. That's a really, really interesting one. I think also like one other note that I had when I did it originally, I got like a candied orange. So it takes that orange bitters from the standard one, mixes in that marshmallow sweetness. It's almost like a candied, like a, I say candied orange, but you know what I'm talking about. Like those orange gummy candies. I don't know. They're not actually candied oranges, but I get a little notes of that. But yeah, we have our fingers crossed for ADHD whiskey. Bardstown Intel. What is it? We got like a couple more weeks. We'll see. For those of you who don't know, he entered a competition to be the world's top whiskey taster. We don't know the results, but we all have our fingers crossed for Whiskey Tube. So next, I think we should move on to. Let's go to the cask strength. I think that's a good next step. So this is 56.1% ABV. This is, let me pull up the logo for it here. There you go. So this is the cask strength bottle. Now their cask strength isn't that high. I mean, especially for like a, for a rye. I mean, I've seen some cask strength stuff up there in like 120, 130. So this one is pretty low for cask strength, but I mean, it's still, what's 56.1 is what? 112.2? Is that right? I'm really bad with math. All right, let's go ahead and try the cask strength. Oh, so Monica says cask strength is her favorite. So we will see. I will say I did enjoy it the first time I had it. What is up, Chris Tats? Another patron of the show here, all the way down from Australia. It is tomorrow morning for him. Hopefully you have today off, or at least have some chance to chill with us in the hangout afterwards. Hope to see you there. Monica says this is great with lemon bars. Ooh, interesting. Wesley Zeller. Wesley, what's up, man? Wesley is also a bourbon gigabyte, which is my $25 level on Patreon. So Wesley, is your support really is awesome on the show. He and I were messaging earlier. He, like I said, it's $25. You get a private hangout a month. We decided it's kind of a busy time of year. So, but next month, Wesley, we're doing a hangout. We're going to like have a lineup and we're just going to like chill for like an hour or so. So looking forward to that. Wesley, thank you so much for being a supporter of the show. Chris is off. That's great. Yeah. So this is the Cask. Now we do know this is the exact same blend of rye that they use for their signature. So it's the same. It's the same stuff as what you're getting on the regular Sagamore Spirit. However, it is amped up to cask strength. That tingles the nose. It's definitely, even though it is a lower proof. Now, I've said this before, ryes drink a lot hotter than like the bourbon counterparts. So it does drink, I mean, at least it noses like a higher proof than 112. But on the nose, I think this is the most rye forward of them all. It definitely leans into those spearmint and like fresh cut grass notes that I'm associate with rye, which, like we said, we may know that there's some MGP mixed in. I do get some similar MGP rye notes, which y'all know I'm a fan of MGP rye, so that is not a downside. Yeah, on the nose, it's definitely the most rye forward, but I'm curious to see how it tastes in comparison to the past two. So cheers, you guys. You know, I said that I typically think that ryes drink hotter. Okay. It gets a little hot towards the finish. When that first hits your tongue, though, I hate to use the word smooth, but it's very smooth for the proof. It tastes like you're drinking a lower proof product. Yes, the proof kicks in on the finish. But at first, I had to almost do a double take. Like, am I drinking the cask strength? Because it definitely drinks lower proof when it first hits your tongue. Now, of course, it evolves into that higher proof. However, that's fantastic. I mean, that is a phenomenal whiskey. Now, the price on this is about, I think, $70, at least in my area. So it is a little pricey, especially for a cask strength, rye. But there's not, I mean, how many cask strength ryes are there really out there? That's also a point to make. It is hard to find, especially at that older age, like the 4 to 5 years. Usually with a cask strength rye, you find it for 2 to 3 years. So, yeah. Okay, Monica's saying now think blueberry. All right, Monica, we're going to taste it again to think blueberry. So I'm not getting blueberry. However, Monica, there is a note that I get there that I think maybe what you're interpreting as blueberry, I'm interpreting as something else. I'm getting a cola note. Like I just took a big spicy, I mean, not that Coke is spicy, but Coca-Cola, you know how it has that tingle tangle in your tongue? I'm getting some of that cola like effervescence to it. And definitely think to me, it brings more like a cola sweetness. It goes a little earthy, I would say. Not like in an off-putting way, but it goes a little earthy. But I think it has like a cola sweetness, which some people may see as blueberry, but I see as like a cola. I don't get as much orange on this one as I did the other one. To me, it's more like a sweet cola, like a toffee kind of note, or caramel. But it's very, very good. Yeah, that's true. For what I see, Pikesville at 70 for a cask strength is no big stretch. I mean, I see Pikesville for like 45. That's the only thing. $45 versus 70 is a pretty big price difference. However, I think this is very, very good. I gave this a 7 out of 10 if you guys are curious on rating wise for the tasting. So while we have a tiny bit of that left, I do want to move on to the next one. Now, the next one is, let me just check Patreon. I don't want to miss a patron again that may join. Okay. No one yet on Patreon. Again, we're at 29. If we hit 30, I'm drinking some Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. And y'all know Cliffy will make a very quick appearance if we drink some Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Monica says she highly recommends touring the distillery. Oh, man, I'd love to. Fred says, Monica, I'm glad I'm not the only one that gets a blueberry note. Not on Sagamore, but on Outlaw Legend and another that I've forgotten. Okay. I hate to say the only thing I've gotten blueberry on was Glyph, which is a molecular whiskey. That's probably not the blueberry y'all talking about. That is like a fake blueberry. That's definitely different. But yeah. Oh, Pikesville 60 for you. Yeah. I think it used to be, but I think it's been dropping in price. I don't think very many people buy it out here, which is little, don't tell anyone in Southern California. All right. So like I said, we have some of that left. I'm going to go ahead and pour the Barrel Select. Now their Barrel Selects, if I can find it, There we go. Their barrel selects are also at a higher proof. So let me show you the logo on that one right there. Yeah, so this is the barrel select logo. Very, very similar. I'll show you the standard one. I mean, it's literally just the colors are inverted. So keep an eye out if you see it. So this one is 55% ABV. Like I said, this is High Time Wine Cellars, which is a liquor store out here in Southern California. So that is 110 proof. So it's slightly lower proof, like within like 1% of the barrel proof. But this is a single barrel select. So let's see how good the select program is. Now, again, it's a single barrel. This isn't a statement to be said about all of the single barrel select. This is just a store here in Southern California. I will say, I do know something about this single barrel select. This is between 6 and 7 years old. So it is older than the regular cask strength. They just said that because they knew the store that did the pick, and it's in between 6 and 7 years old. So should be a little bit more older. It should get a little bit more age showing up, maybe some more oak. But let's go ahead and give it a taste. Cheers, you guys. Or a nose, whatever. Tasting with my nose. Ooh, again, it's hot. It's very, very hot. So this harkens back to that savory note that I got on the double oak. Now I do know the double oak is a different like blend, so this isn't the same blend as the double oak. However, it still goes savory, and it's still that dill. That dill is so unique. I've thought I've gotten dill before, but it's not until I've tried Sagamore that I realized, oh, that's the dill that people are talking about. Yeah, it's really bright, really forward rye. This one is the rye-iest rye of the Sagamore line, if that makes any sense. They really were highlighting that rye note. So let's go ahead and taste it. Cheers, you guys. Ooh. There are two very, very prominent notes on that. Three notes. First, that has a very, very honey sweetness at the tip of the tongue. It's like almost has the viscosity of like a honey. Like, I mean, obviously it's not as thick as honey, but it reminds you of drinking like a mead. It's very mead-esque. It's definitely, I guess maybe it's, I'm getting more corn on this, even though I know it's not the low rye mash bill. I'm getting like a corn sweetness that attributes to that honey. But then it goes, I was going to say, so there's three notes. One, honey. Two, that oak. That extra age, like I said, 6 to 7 years old, definitely shows up on the palate. It is not astringent, but it has that rich, well-aged oaky note that I love on all whiskey. I mean, let's be honest, like who doesn't love that? I mean, if you're a Scotch drinker, you may not like the super over oaky, but me, I'm a big fan of it. However, in that last little bit, there was an extra note that popped up, and that was like I'm not the best with my like baking spices, but the first thing that flashed into my mind was nutmeg. It is almost like a cinnamon, like between cinnamon and nutmeg, like maybe allspice. I don't know my spices. I'm not the cook in the family. But it has a baking spice note that like adds to that. It adds to the honey characteristic. This is almost, dare I say, like a hot toddy of a bourbon or of a rye. Sorry. It's almost like hot toddy-esque. It's definitely a combination of those spices, that oak, and that honey sweetness. I'm a big fan of this barrel select. Now I know Monica said you have a single barrel select. So Monica, what is your store and how does it taste? How does it compare to your cask strength? Because I know you said cask strength is your favorite. Also, anyone else have you tried anything from Sagamore Spirit? They have a port finish and they have a cognac finish and maybe a sherry finish. Just curious if you guys have tried any of them, because interesting. So Sugar Kitty says cardamom instead of cinnamon. Whew. Maybe. Again, I don't know my spices. Monica says it's softer. I would agree with that, even though it's basically the same proof. I think that extra age definitely mellows it out. Oh yeah. Oh no, I do. I got a sample. Brian, I need to highlight these comments. Brian says, I believe Clifton has a sample of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof 11, which is what we'll be drinking if we get one more patron tonight. So anybody at any level, we will drink some Elijah. I mean, I'm literally begging you only because I get to drink Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, not because not to say I don't care. I absolutely love every single patron. but I care more about drinking this Elijah Craig barrel proof. So that's what I'm excited about. But yeah. So, okay. So Monica's not sure the store that it came from. I really, really do like this barrel select. Now, I don't know if this High Times one, I don't know if it's just hitting the store or if it's been there a while. I'm going to drive by there on Saturday. So I may check to see if they have any more. Okay, Monica says it was a store in New Jersey. Gotcha. So I left a little bit of the Cask Strength just to do like a quick little comparison side by side. So you know how I was saying that one that one is very, very high rye and like a lot of that dill. The Cask Strength drinks way more like a traditional rye. The High Times, though, when you're drinking it, it goes honey, it goes sweet, it goes corn. That is really unique, and I'm very, very surprised to know that that's not the same mash bill as the Double Oak, because the Double Oak had that corn sweetness. Okay, Monica says the one that she has is Bourbon Street Wine and Spirits. Sugar Kitty is in New Jersey, so maybe that'll help you out, Sugar Kitty. But yeah, I mean, I think High Times did an excellent job on this pick. Yeah, honey and nutmeg, I think is the key factors there that are really, really unique. Interesting. So Monica says her pick is only 95 proof. Huh. Monica, that was when New Jersey, that was like what, like last year? So they may have changed it up because this one is definitely 110 proof. And they said that's what they did their pick says now. So maybe they've upped their proof of their picks from now on. Yeah. So Fred says he poured the Calvados finish to drink along. Well, Fred, great timing because it is time for us to move on to the final two of these. Like I said, I bought one of them. I haven't told you guys which one it is yet. So we'll move on to the Calvados one. Now, I'm probably mispronouncing Calvados. Calvados. It's like when God in Leviosa. Oh, God. Cliffy's making an appearance. Cliffy, hold it till the hangout. How about that? All right. So next we are moving to the Calvados. Fancy. You know, like a little mustache, like a pipe. So this one, oh, Calvado, Calvado or Calvado, Calvado, whatever the hell it is. I just know that it is a region of France. So this is I assume it's like a wine finish, like it's similar to like a sherry finish, but a wine. Is it a red wine or a white wine? Or is it a brandy finish? Honestly, I don't fucking know what Calvados is. I just heard the word and everyone was like, oh, Calvados. Fancy. I have no idea what it is, but we're going to try it. That's my next pour tonight. So this one is 50.6. So it's 101.2 proof. So it's similar to the regular signature. Oh, apple. You know what? They totally told us that during the stream. Apple brandy. Well, there we go. Okay, y'all, I'm very, very new to brandy. I just bought my first Armagnac like yesterday. So give me a break, guys. I'm a bourbon guy. I'm experimenting with finishing, okay? Okay, never mind. Anyways, let's go and pour this. I was going to say, how many bourbon drinker know what a Calvados is? So it's an apple brandy from France. Gotcha. Thank you for the info, Monica and Emily and Sugar Kitty and Fred. And everyone just proved me I'm a fucking idiot. But it's okay. I'm enjoying it. So, anyways, Calvados is a apple brandy from France. By the way, for those of you that you are new to the stream, yeah, this is what these devolve into when I'm drinking 6 samples in one night. We do know this is finished for 16 months in these barrels. Then it's finished for another year in rye barrels. So I learned about that because what they did was they told us the story. I don't know if it's like well-known knowledge, but they finished it in the Calvados. I'm going to say Calvados because I'm from South Kakalaki. I'm going to call it Calvados. They finished it in the Calvados barrels, but then they realized that it was really, really off balance and it was very, very bitter and it wasn't very good. So what they did, instead of just throwing it out and just giving up on the experiment, they put it back into rye barrels and let it age for an extra amount of time to balance it out. And then that basically resulted in it being almost 6 years old, just like with the added finishing alone. So that was pretty cool. They decided, you know what? One, we're not going to release a shit product. Two, we're not going to throw the shit out. Three, they were like, let's do something interesting. Let's see if we can mellow it back out. And they did. So that's what we're drinking here tonight with the Calvados. Okay. Brian says, I prefer to pronounce it Calvados. No idea if that's right, but it sounds good to me. Calvados. There we go. It's like Wingardium Leviosa. Oh, thank you, Emily. You are not an idiot. You are chilling, dude. Thank you, Emily, who previously called me like the fearless leader or whatever you call me on Discord. Which, by the way, if you guys missed the beginning of the stream, we were doing a hangout on our Discord channel. If you don't know what Discord is, don't worry. You don't have to know. Just go to bourbonbites.com. It will tell you like, hey, just click this button. It'll download the app. It's basically like a group chat. You can turn on or off notifications if you want. But it's a very good community where we hang out. We drink whiskey. We talk video games sometimes, and overall, we just chill. As Emily says, we chill. So, Steven, who is also the mastermind behind our Discord, he says, just hopping in now. Love the Calvados. Kielbasa. Cheers. Biggest question of the night is, how did I not know that was apple brandy? That is the most apple. Honestly, you guys know I'm a big fan of Copper and Kings, which is a brandy distillery in Kentucky, surprisingly. This, honestly, if you told me this was a brandy I was drinking, I would freaking believe you. Wow. I wonder if that's why they tried to mellow it out in the rye barrels, because it drinks like a brandy. That is sweet. That is apple tart, almost like a baked apple pie. Man, that is tons of apple. I would bring up sausage. Oh, I would. If it's not the knob, it's the sausage. Man, I will say this Calvados is available in my store. I passed it today because I wasn't supposed to tell you all that. I picked another one other than the Calvados when I bought a bottle today. Emily, that's a good point. So those of you that are a member of my Facebook community, I previously set up a Facebook group called the Whiskey and Gaming Lounge. We had like 141 members, which is awesome. I'm so glad for you guys to join me there. However, I think I've learned that I don't like being in like so many places that I can't keep up with it. So I'm actually closing down the Facebook group. And we're just shifting over to Discord. So like I said, if you're not on Discord yet, it's very, very simple. If you need help, please just shoot me a message. I'd be glad to help you, get it set up and join. But overall, it works a lot better than the Facebook group for me. So that's why I'm closing the Facebook group down, just so I can focus primarily on Discord. So thank you for bringing that up, Emily. The 4 C's of Normandy: ciders, Calvados, Camembert, and cream. Put them all together, you get a heck of a good chicken dish. I mean, fuck yeah. Yes, I did, Donnie. No, Donnie. That's what we're tasting next. So this is the Calvados. So let me get more notes on that one. This is fantastic. You will not, if you like. I mean, let's say if you're someone that loves brandy, oh my god, fucking get this. It's fucking phenomenal. If you're someone that doesn't know anything about brandy like me, you'll really appreciate this. You'll get a lot of the apple sweetness. That apple, not really a tart apple. It's like a fresh apple, but like a fresh sweet apple. So none of that Granny Smith shit. It's more of like I guess Golden Delicious. I'm just trying to get like a sweet apple. So it was Camembert. I don't know what that word means. We need a like a dictionary to pop on the screen that explains these things. Monica asks, what's the price point on the Calvados? That would be great info for me to have readily available, but I don't. So I'm going to look it up for you, Monica. I'm going to, because like I said, I saw it today at my store. So let me see what it is. So it is $71.99 at Total Wine in Southern California. So it's a little pricey. The Manhattan finish was $65 in comparison. So Lil is showing up for the last 10 minutes. Yeah, we got 10 minutes left, and we got one more whiskey. So I know y'all correct me. I'm from South. I'm gonna stick to the South Carolina excuse. I don't know these fancy words. We drink Jack Daniels and Jim Beam. No, we drink Crown Royal. Honestly. Anyways, so honestly though, I gave this an 8 out of 10. The Calvados, whatever the hell you want to call it. $71 is a little pricey. I definitely would recommend giving it a try if you have it at a bar or something. Definitely give it a try. It's definitely unique, but to me, the way it clings to the tongue and the way it gives you a fantastic whiskey experience. I mean, I definitely think it's worth the $71.99. I would have bought it if I wouldn't have bought something else. Which brings us to our last whiskey of the night. This one is a shocker. So this last one, now it looks very similar. This is part of their Distillers Select series. Now they did one previously where they did a rye stout finish. However, this is the 2020 release, I believe. It could be late 2019. Either way, it's the most recent release in the Distillers Select series. This is their Manhattan finish. Now, this one's really, really cool, guys. So listen to this. What they do for their Manhattan finish is they don't just like finish it in like a barrel-aged Manhattan barrel. You guys know like High West does that. I've had a High West American Prairie that was finished in the Manhattan barrels. That's not what they do. Oh, no. They take a completely different approach to this. What they do is they finish their rye whiskey in vermouth barrels. They finish some of their rye whiskey in cherry brandy barrels. And they finish some of their whiskey in bitters barrels. Now, these set in these barrels for 1 year and 9 months after the whiskey has been like aged to that, what was it, 4 to 5 year? So they finish it in these barrels for 1 year and 9 months. This has been an experiment that has been in the works for a while. So not only do they do that, but they take each of those finished whiskeys and they blend it together to simulate a Manhattan profile. So like the Manhattan cocktail, it's vermouth, it's bitters, it's, cherry, and it's rye whiskey. So what an awesome experiment. I freaking love that they did something like that. That is really, really cool. So this isn't just like Manhattan barreled Manhattan barrel finished. This is a blend that is supposed to simulate a Manhattan. So let's go ahead and pour that in a glass, shall we? Someone said something about boiled peanuts. I love boiled peanuts. What are we talking about? Hell yeah. Scary Peeper says, Crown Peach and boiled peanuts. You can throw away the Crown Peach, but I'm keeping the boiled peanuts. Yeah. You guys know how I said bold. That's what we call them. Bold peanuts. Oh my God. My mom, I would show you guys. My mom sent me a care package not when I first moved out here, but it was probably earlier this year. It was like when COVID first started. She sent me a care package from South Carolina, and guess what? It came with 4 cans of boiled peanuts. So she knows me well. So let's move on to the Manhattan. Yeah, it's totally creative. It's such a cool concept. This one is also 51.5%. So it's that same 103 proof. What did I say it was earlier? Something else was the same proof, and I said it was like one. Maybe it wasn't. I swear I said that something was like 112, and I was wrong, but maybe not. This is 103 proof. Monica says, I love boiled peanuts. I want to live in the South. Well, Monica, now, to be fair, I did say canned boiled peanuts. They are not the ideal. Yes, you normally get them fresh. Like you normally get them from like a random guy selling them at the side of the gas station. But boiled peanuts are a signature. Yeah, they do take forever, Monica. And that's why I said the canned ones aren't that bad. They honestly aren't that bad. You can't buy them in Southern California. So I was glad my mom sent me the canned ones. I would just say 13-year-old me in the kitchen, as soon as I got home from school, I would literally go heat up a pot of boiling water, pour the peanuts in it, add some salt. Like that was my meal. I am a true Southern bred boy living in Southern California, but whatever. It led me to whiskey, so glad to be spending it here with you guys tonight. I don't know where that was. I haven't even told you about this whiskey yet. Man, Cliffy is showing up. Whew. That I will say, maybe it was the Bud Light Seltzer. I'm just kidding. No, I just 6 samples. I normally only do like 4 or 5, so going through 6 is like taking a lot out of me, but I'm enjoying every minute of it. So this, like I said, is the Manhattan finish. Now let's go to get the nose on this one. I think the thing that jumps out of the glass is that cherry. Now, like I said, it was finished in cherry brandy barrels. At least part of it was. It almost goes a little grape too, and I don't know why it goes grape. Maybe it's a mix of the bitters and the cherry. But I get like a little bit of grape, but I definitely get some cherry sweetness on that nose. I would not guess rye. I would not think this is a rye on the nose. So let's go ahead and give it a taste. Cheers, you guys. Cocktail in a glass. Refined, super well balanced. That vermouth makes like a slight appearance with the cherry brandy. I think is the most obvious finish that we're getting on that. It is very, very sweet, like a cherry sweetness. But there's some vermouth like aspect of it. Now remember, there's no vermouth in here. I mean, technically there is because they put it in a barrel. They didn't add vermouth to this. They literally put rye whiskey and aged it in a barrel that previously held vermouth. So it's pulling out that vermouth from the barrel. It's also doing the same with the cherry brandy. It's also doing the same with the bitters. So they really, really had to dive deep with this blend. And again, $65. I mean, damn. To me, it's like a borderline wine / cocktail. It drinks with the complexity of a cocktail, but the viscosity is definitely in wine territory. It's very, very thick. It's thick like the High Time Single Barrel Select was. I associate that with like a honey sweetness. This one, that thickness is more of the, I don't know, maybe it's just like the vermouth. I don't know, actually. But to me, it's definitely thick. The bitters show up a little bit more on the end of the palate. I love how y'all are just having a conversation about boiled peanuts. I'll let y'all handle that. I'm just talking about the whiskey because I'm freaking loving this whiskey. So it kind of goes a little grape. It kind of gets a little grape juicy on the finish, not in a bad way. I like grape juice, but still that barrel finish is like barreled grape juice, which sounds awful. Which I mean, is that not basically wine? Has a smoky aspect, not smoky like a peat. It's not like a peat smoke. It's like a campfire smoke on the very end of the palate. Honestly, I will say, rating-wise, I forgot to put a rating on this one. All I did was add it to my cart and brought it home. So yes, the one bottle I brought home was wait, I could do something cool here. Hold on, wait. So, you curious which whiskey I brought home? Well, look no further than the Manhattan finish. This was absolutely the highlight of the night. I cannot recommend this enough. Monica, you are the Sagamore fan in the house. Monica, have you had this one? It's new. It is if you don't like cocktails, it might be a little weird. But if you love a good traditional Manhattan, man, you would love this. Steven says seamless. That's the highlight. We're just gonna make this my thumbnail. Oh, I'm so good. It's just like a seamless transition. Man, this is fantastic. Had to grab a bottle. Now, if it matters, this is batch 1B. A funny note that they gave us during the tasting was they had no idea what the blend would be when they were first coming up with this. So they probably put the equal amounts of rye whiskey in a brandy barrel, vermouth barrel, and bitters barrel. They said they made way too much of the rye aged in the bitters barrel. Those bitters took on such an intense flavor that they only used a very, very little bit when they were making this blend for the Manhattan release. So now they said, like, we're stuck with a bunch of rye whiskey in bitters barrels and we don't know what to do with it. So hopefully that means they're going to do more of these like cocktail experiments because, man, that is fantastic. And Monica, you say you do love a good Manhattan. Well, Monica, this is a great whiskey and definitely pick it up if you see it in your area. I'm a big, big fan of this one. So yeah, I mean, that was my big reveal of the night. That was absolutely hands down my favorite. Now, which ones would I recommend getting for the price? Definitely this one. Calvados is worth it. The only reason I didn't pick up that one was because I prefer the Manhattan. I was like, I only want to really buy one bottle before the stream. I may buy more later. Manhattan was the one that just sold me that night. It's just absolutely delicious. All of the interesting finishes, they did have, like I said, the rye stout finish. I didn't try that one, but I know they were very, very proud of that one. So I would love a chance to try that one eventually. So this was fantastic. Calvados is finished. And honestly, Castor is fantastic. Or if your store has a store pick, even better. I think the store picks are definitely better than the Castor, at least in my area. So with that, Monica says, the chat on StreamYard hasn't caught up. I'm looking at the separate chat. Oh, there we go. Monica says, Sagamore should send you some for free. So, Monica, I'm going to screen cap that quote. Hey, Sagamore, I got your whiskey. No, I would love to try more things, but I do appreciate when distilleries do send me things. It's very rare, but when they do, I'm very, very appreciative. So, yeah, so Brandon, I will see you Saturday, but everyone else, thank y'all so much for hanging out with me here on Thursday. This has been an awesome stream. I fell in love with Sagamore after that tasting. I just had to share the news with you guys after trying it. So definitely keep an eye out for it in your area. Like I said, if you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, I would love, we are so close to 2,500. Like, it's crazy. Let me double check to make sure we don't have any more patrons. Okay, cool. I just would feel bad if I forgot someone. So we are at 29, maybe next week, or next week I will not be doing it live because it's Thanksgiving and that would be weird. Even though I'm not really doing anything big for Thanksgiving. However, I will plan to have a video up next Thursday. How about that? In exchange for a live stream, you guys will get a video on Thursday. So keep an eye out for that. But until next time, this has been Bourbon Bites, whiskey reviews with a gaming twist. Make sure to join us over on the Discord at bourbonbites.com for the hangout that is open to everyone. So I will see you guys there. But until next time, yeah, I don't have an outro yet, but I'm working on it. Again, lots of things are in the works. Patrons got a little sneak preview. Cheers, you guys, and I'll see you guys after Thanksgiving. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And whether you're spending it with the family or you're just spending it alone because you know what, COVID, it sucks, but maybe you can do a Zoom call with your family. I don't know. Enjoy your holiday, however you spend it. Cheers, you guys.